You good? Extra sheet. And trade it.
Good evening, everyone. It is 7:30, Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025. Now called to order. It is first time to Eatonville regular council meeting. Mrs. King, or Ms. Allen, would you please verify quorum?
Yes. Councilwoman Randolph,
Here.
Councilman Mack,
Here.
Councilman Daniels, Vice Mayor Washington, and Mayor Garner.
Here, please stand for a moment of silence, followed by the pledge of allegiance. The pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next item is the approval of the agenda. There is one item that you received its minutes. The action that. So they're right here. Have about this. Oh, and resolution 2025-21. That was handed out to you. All right, those two amendments, is there a motion for approval?
So.
Yes, they're moving. Oh, one is for, consent is one, and decision 2025-25 is decision, and the minute is already in work. Are we back being said to move in second?
Could we verify who moved in second again, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so it has been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. All right, the agenda has been approved. Citizen participation.
First we have John Michael Fernandez.
Oh, it's very public.
Oh, okay. Then we have Mr. Kelvin Franklin.
Here is Washington. And we're here for and pay. One readings from the Eatonville Chamber of Commerce. We're excited to share that our 8th anniversary of the center. We became the official welcome center of the historic town. So when our anniversary, these are our company meetings. We'll be doing this month's chamber call today. September 10th from 8 to 9:30. And facilitators will call. We're sourcing Facebook for the topic is business communication engagement. We're effective exploration And look here within this strategy, immediately followed. From the hearing was up to 15. That was 16. 6 o'clock, 8:30. Professional strategy, pre-networking. At the Eatonville day, vendors, fees, part of the on the TV, our website. We're asking that if there is any concerns, please contact the chamber.
September 10th, what, AM?
September 10th.
10 till 8. I think that, okay,
Yes, so, 8, 9, 3, 8, so,
Next, we have Angela Thomas.
Speak on the cemetery. So, just there were flies and also photographs of the young lady from the, they gave us a tour. So we first took a tour of the Mosley House, and that's the first time I've ever been inside. And to see that history and all the beautiful wood and stuff that's in there, I was really amazed at that. Then we went to the cemetery. Now the cemetery on the plaque, it said there are no bodies of either pioneer at the ground. On this study, it says there's the results of the are revealed good debris and all of that. The people were buried in groups back in the day. So how do you know that this is not part of somebody's past? And then when I looked at it, I said to the council member, what the council member's name on it? That you said y'all knew that that was another burial ground from some of our pioneers. And to even the audacity to even say you want to give our history away for someone to build a home. God rest your soul, because whatever God that y'all talking about up here, and y'all want to come in and build a house on top of somebody's relatives or ancestors, I just think it just floors me that you would even think. Thank you.
Next, we have Joyce Arby.
Can't fix it. I can't make any changes. A hard job to have with people. And I'm hoping we continue to try to highlight a lot of these things. I said, all of you can say, all of us time, but I'll be there. So about the cemetery, that people are there with these boxes. And I'm always skeptical about anything that has to be, let it get this out of the way so we can develop. That's just, I have no with them, that's just my normal space. And one other thing is, town's gonna give it to this, or do whatever to the CRA. My scary question is, who determines that it's how the home is built? Who determines who the contractors are? We have plumbers, like my cousin in this town, who's not involved in things. We have a great electrician who's wired my entire house, and who's across the street from me. Often have nothing to do with these windfalls. So I would like to know who's in charge of the money, and for delegating the money and the opportunities for people to work on these things that the town is developing. Even though personally, I don't think it should be doing, but that's just something I hope you guys will do. I would like to see qualified residents participate in the what? That's it. Thank you.
Next we have Janelle Brunson.
Good evening. I, am from. I just found out about the potential ordinance that requires certain requirements for rental property. And I was the first time to do it, the purpose of the ordinance. And I have not had an opportunity to actually review the ordinance, the proposed ordinance, but I heard about it on the news. And I would like to know what are the specific requirements? For instance, there's a bulletin that says background, criminal background checks and income checks. What is the reason for that? As a business owner, I would like to know why the town of Eatonville cares about whether or not my little property has the tenant has a criminal background. I mean, that's that, I would think that has to be my personal as a business person. I'd also like to know.
This Robinson, I didn't know what you're gonna speak on. But there will be, you feel free to speak now, but you also have an opportunity to speak in the hearing portion for that topic.
That's fine. My name was called, and so I came up to speak.
Okay, so I didn't know if you wanted to wait, and then you hear a little bit more, then come back,
Right, I may have more information actually.
and we may have that, okay. Okay, that might be more appropriate if we have a question, okay.
The next citizen participation is for the rental property as well, so,
Oh,
yeah, so that was it.
that was it for citizen participation. We're now going to the approval of the first reading of ordinance 2025-3. We will hear the preamble. Little bit of.
Okay, ordinance 2025-3, an ordinance of the town of Eatonville, Florida, amending chapter 12 businesses in the town of Eatonville Code of Ordinances concerning the registration and operation of rental homes, providing applicability, providing for registration.
One thing.
Okay, providing for registration, inspections and fees, providing for required postings and notice, providing for interpretation and enforcement, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date.
Whoever heard the preamble, this item is now. Ordered.
Mayor, Council, just to give some insight, there's a few items that are included in the previous ordinance that was written for 2022. That legal and I have discussed that they want to discuss, or at least hear from legal first before we proceed forward, and then we can make a decision on how we would like to go from there. This was presented by Vice Mayor Washington. So I don't know if he has something he wants to say before our attorney can give some insight.
So this one. Research the fact, we brought this out 2022. And some laws changed in 2023. So that's something that look back at to change some things in this ordinance. So I'll have the legal to let us know those changes. That's in this document that was changed where we can carry this document on. And some of those changes that's in this document, some of the citizens are talking about. So those can be changed out of this resolution when they come back up. So I'll give it to the attorney that it speak on.
So that is correct. 2023 state did pass a preemption that specifically covers some portions of this ordinance, back to 2022. And that Florida statute is 83.425, and specifically says. This section supersedes any local government regulations on matters of government of this part, including but not limited to. The screening process used by a landlord in improving tenancies, security deposits, fertility agreement applications, and it goes on, but. One of the provisions in here does reference tenant screening. And that would be specifically preempted under that statute. So there are some provisions in here that we need to look through with a fine tooth comb to figure out what exactly is preempted, what is not preempted. I can tell you, we just worked on a similar ordinance in the municipality that we have that creates a registration and inspection program. But the way this is written in its current form, it does need.
And that's one of the things we talked about that. To get this finished, so we'll make sure residents, business owners are approved. I love this, because we definitely need to get a crackdown on some of the renters properties that we have out here. That landlords, that renters are not taken care of. That's one of the reasons that this came back up. But the changes we saw, 2023 change the law, us to go on with this ordinance.
And to that same point, as we were reviewing it, the focus for these so ordinance was also on the ones that were not really established and that were kind of left unattended to and didn't have any type of prerequisites for those renters that kind of brought light and slum to the community. So it's not strategically set up to address those that have property management or such as apartments and so forth, for that matter, for dwelling units. But those ones that are not, maybe, out of the area or not taking care of those properties with the renters that impact our.
So that are we now? Equal? Is that what
That's
you're offering?
Most of the people for laws that change. Each other, they'll be able to get these moments up to par. So we can, so. Right.
Yeah, I would think we definitely need to take this out, especially with the concerns of some of our citizens. And the matter of a lot of things that are taking place that would affect them in terms of this ordinance that we could possibly pass. I know for me, as a leader up here, it's definitely something that I would like to table while we can educate ourselves on more, listening to it and kind of digesting and understanding what it is that we're getting ourselves into before passing this law. So, especially with some of the concerns that one of the citizens just got up here and stated, I'm definitely not for, I think that we're gonna do things that's gonna, include ourselves in getting involved with rental owners. I think we're kind of, playing with fire in a sense. So I definitely don't want to do that. I want to make sure that I'm protecting this governing body also. So I think we definitely need to make sure that we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's before moving forward. So I think the best thing that we need to do in terms of making the best educated decision is take this item to further notice.
Mayor, would you like to proceed with the public hearing? We still have 2 names.
Yes.
That's why we have a time here and they don't exist.
Yes. All right, so at this point, even though we have some coverage, we will open this item up for public comment. If there's anyone that would like to speak to this item, you may come to the lectern, give your name, and they will say.
Pardon me, from town, and you reference to speak on this ordinance.
This. Can you please hold?
In reference to this ordinance, and the Councilman Washington, in reference to, owners who have, none of here in town, it is, my opinion that talk about, homes that are not being kept up I think if we step up on code enforcement, that's what code enforcement is supposed to be about. You know that you've all been talking about it, in the past, and we don't have this type of, orders in place. But due to the circumstances in the situation, I think that it's something we really need to think about because, in terms of, what is happening with the husband. I think this brings to address this is in close enforcement, right, this community, see all these things that are, compared to homes in this community, especially those that are commercial, you do not have the effective code enforcement, like we did once before, when that was here. And right now, I don't think we have an effective code enforcement to address these things, and they always say, in as far as keeping people, in terms of making sure that their homes are kept up. I think that's why we have code enforcement come in and ensure that when people, whether, they're in this, town or, are not in town, they have other properties. I think that's what code enforcement should be, was as opposed to reading an ordinance now to try to address this. And then even if you wait, order, how you want to address it, the code enforcement should be first, line of defense in regards to students. So I think the folks who are trying to put enforcement in place and get it up and running the way it's supposed to be. I think this situation could be addressed through the effort of code enforcement.
This ordinance, what I thought about it, maybe it's just my personal opinion. If we do this, and we're gonna charge the landlords, to get all these different things, risk is sky high. If you talk about people who can't afford this, can't afford this cost is gonna carry over to the renters. So before you bring that back, maybe y'all need to think about that because the landlords got to do their part as well. So they're gonna be off of the renters that are coming in. And like you guys said, if you still can't afford what you have now, they're not gonna be able to afford this thing.
The finance journalists and all property 12 legal on for 40 years. And I agree with you what you just said. That code enforcement handle this issue. An effective code enforcement. So we talking about in the code enforcement several times. I have called, I have written letters, and I sent text letters. And not once have I received a response back, at least a response back in like one time the property, my property got so tall, not exaggerating, it was taller than me. And I, with the code enforcement, I asked them, he's put a letter on the door, people living there. I put a letter on the door. Eventually, someone came out and I saw a truck, I said, great, you finally put that down. All they did was cut a path to get to the water. and not the rest of it. So if we get code enforcement, the effective code enforcement, this probably go away. And if all the years have not seen effective code enforcement out there.
Yeah, my name is Janelle Bronson. I appreciate the opportunity tonight. I agree with what the other speakers talked about code enforcement. If there's a problem, seem to be that code enforcement would be the appropriate remedy for that situation. I don't know why I need to have the imposition of having to do a criminal background check on somebody if I don't choose to, or an income background check on someone if I don't choose to, because that would be my personal business, and I don't know why government, those that are Eatonville, would be attempted to impinge on my personal business. I also think that if you're going to require this kind of, ordinance, that you need to have some means upfront on how you enforce it, not to cost more, expenses to the town. If someone gonna come and ask to see my background check on a tenant, or my income background check on a tenant. And I don't really find it clear, if it's because the property is in disrepair, then code enforcement should address that issue. Thank you.
Good evening, council residents, Brittany Street. My comments are about the demographics of this community. And these are personal. We know what the demographic breakdown in this community of ownership versus ownership. I know that ownership is important to this council and this community. I'm not opposed to this ordinance. I do hear the concerns of some of the other members inside, right? I think that like is extremely important. I think that we're a really small community and that we have a really big opportunity to pave our own path. That we have an opportunity to set standards and that and to enforce that standard as well. I want to pretend to know policy and procedure. I won't pretend to know whether something has to be an ordinance before it can be enforced. I appreciate the due diligence of this council, making sure that these things are put into place so that when you need, there is something to fall back on. I also feel that some of the specifics in there, like some of the things that I've mentioned, I might not be able to speak to, but I think that definitely conditions of that housing in this community is a mounting problem. I also feel, as I read it in the paperwork tonight, that sometimes, and this isn't for every renter in Eatonville, but sometimes when you have renters in your community and they are not deeply tied to or they gain capacity attached to the community, some of these things can be overlooked. So I do believe that the diligence of this council to go ahead and put something in place to try to make sure that we stay on top of it, even if we are not micromanaging or harassing renters. I think that is important to this. Thank you.
Mayor, to the city council. My name is John Hernandez. I'm the director of the supporting the association here in Orlando. Representing the association is the composition of people it is. Very happy to hear that's on the table. I spoke to all of you last couple of days. You know, concerns of the release, especially mentioned that discussed in today. I just want to let you all know that there's still another picture in chapter 5 of the lodging establishments. For you, verbatim statute states the regulation about lodging establishments is to the state, and it's considered a apartment community by units. So any licensing regulation, final government needs to be to. So I just want to make sure that tracking and also thank you again for your consideration of the concerns.
As more renters. This is more of a philosophical statement as more renters. I just wanted to ask you where we are as a target because of our location. There's a podcast called Here Goes the Wind, where they were watching the Black community. They were like, for every 2 white people we go to Starbucks, for every 3 we get a whole world, we got a whole community Starbucks in each direction that are very, very close. Let me just say, I love both of them, so I can participate in the whole things at Starbucks. But our location makes us a target for people who want to buy our homes, especially for older residents, and sell them and make a profit. Or there's one of my neighbors who graduated from family, whose mother or father worked on community with. Keeps trying to buy this property and develop. And the guy keeps trying to get it approved to build 2 houses where she is. So she can't buy the house from him. He's waiting about 2 to build on units. And we have a lot of people who have history here who want to can't. For most of the newer houses, they probably won't have the opportunity. I'm just saying that someone whose house was built in the 60s here, that I have a spiritual connection to this community and its people. And I wish there was some way we could allow, especially historical residents, to build homes here. Because people passing through, don't forget, that's true, don't forget, that's their job. It just bothers my heart. So.
Thank you. Are there any more speakers? I've seen that there are none. We're now closing this item for public comment. And is there anyone that would like to speak to it or not? Or if we want to make it. So.
Okay, yes, I would like to speak on this item, just very briefly. Back in 2022, when we first visited this item for discussion. And just like one of the had mentioned, this has been brought before several times. And I believe it's been brought before 2022 at some point. But rental units, I just want to let everybody know that this is going to cause a big problem with landlords assessing the tenants. We already have a crisis on our hands right now concerning increasing rent. Last week, I spoke to 2 different residents and sent them to town hall to take care of some issues about their water bill. Okay, and these tenants were telling me that their bill was running about $200 to $300. And one of the things it's going to do is that it's just going to rise the cost of housing, which we already have a problem in our community. Just want to point out to you also is that rental units are not going to go away. There's very little that we can do as far as rental units because what happens it lies at the beginning of homeowners and people who own property that don't pay their taxes and don't pay their mortgages. So you have these LLCs that jump out in front of everyone and absorb these units in these homes. I don't know what we can do about that part. But what our community needs, they need education. Just yesterday, and Chief is a witness, we witnessed one of our residents here, has been here in this community for a long time, lost their house on taxes for only $7,000. He's out there trying to enforce an issue yesterday. Am I speaking correctly? Was it yesterday or Sunday?
Yesterday.
It was yesterday, I'm sorry, yesterday. So I'm saying it requires housing education to our residents to know that these residents, so especially for those who have worked so hard, they leave their properties to their children. They are the ones that's creating this housing crisis. And their houses are going up for sale. And some of these residents who are descendants are living in the house and have no responsibility and don't even care about what's going on until someone starts knocking on their door and say, hey, you got to move. So what is in the community that we can do as far as education to our community so that way they will understand so that houses won't end up in that particular shape. So just think that this is going to create more issues. In my opinion, you're going to have to hire a code enforcement officer to do this. It's going to be extra staff. And then it's not only that, but you're entrenching on the privacy of private people. And just like one of the speakers had mentioned, Does it mean that we as the town, that we're gonna start keeping records and dialogue of different people who are renting from different ones who owns property? It's none of our business if they rent to a criminal or whatever. I mean, what business that we have with that? We haven't set any standards. So we just jumping out there because we think this is something that's good. Well, it may be good for some communities, but is it good for Eatonville? The last number that I heard 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, we had something, if I'm not speaking out of turn, it was something close to 200 homes for rent in Eatonville. That's a lot. That is a lot of territory of different homes that's out there that's running, but we have to do code enforcement. Because just putting an ordinance out there is not going to solve the problem. The problem lies with the town, and we have to do a better job. Thank you.
If I may, just to reiterate on what Councilwoman just stated, I concur with her on pretty much everything that she just talked about, because I think it's important. We got to get the fish to fry. Sit here and worry about, people criminal record or whatever it is, that really concerns the actual people that own the property. So I think we're kind of, overstepping our boundaries when we kind of look into, trying to change the ordinance, which is law. So, these are the things that we got to be very particular about before moving forward with trying to make decisions based off of what people in our community base their facts on how they rent their property. That's their business. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day. And I'm going to stand on that. Also, I think it's important that we do educate our people why they don't lose their property, because we're losing it at a rapid rate. And like you said, I think it's a little bit more than 200 people that are rentals in this community, and it's atrocious. You know what I'm saying? It's getting worse by the day. So I think us as a council member, we need to probably, implement something that's gonna, cause them not to lose their property, with, setting up some kind of programs to where they can possibly meet those deeds on making the payments while they don't lose their property. Well, I know it's a lot of money to a lot of people, but at the end of the day, it's really not. $7,000 to lose something that the ancestors fought the water for, and I've been in Eatonville all my life, and I see it every day, and it breaks your heart to see people that have been in their homes for 30, 40 years lose it through the technicality with it, you know what I'm saying? For less than $10,000 because they wasn't paying the property. But neither here or there, I think we definitely need to dot our I's, cross our T's, and dealing with this ordinance right here and making sure that we do get efficient code enforcement. Not that saying that we don't have efficient code enforcement, but I think it needs help. I stated that time I got in office. Those are one of the things that I want to implement, and hire another officer to facilitate him in doing his job, because I could just think one person doing code enforcement in this community. I know it's a small community. That's a lot of work, and the scope of work that he has to put out there with all the different hearings he has to put together, and et cetera, et cetera. So I think we definitely need to, especially with us being in budget right now, and we definitely need to address this issue right here sooner than later before it gets out of hand. And we need to do something that's gonna, be for the betterment of our community at the end of the day, point blank period. So I'm glad that we are, gonna move forward with taking this item while we can digest it and kind of look into it. Make sure that we're dotting our I's, like I said, crossing our T's before making any other decision that would be detrimental to this community. So with that being said, I'm not for the ordinance, I can tell you that, because of all the other different stipulations that are within the guidelines of it. So it's a hard no for me at this time, because I had the opportunity to sit here and listen to some of my residents who are the ones that put me in this position to sit up there and make educated decisions for you guys. So I want to make sure that I'm going to continue doing that moving forward, but making the best educated decision moving forward that's going to benefit everybody, not just some residents. So I just want to leave it right there. Hopefully we can go ahead and take this item and move forward and possibly move away from it at the same time. So that's my spirit.
Since we have to, table this, wouldn't it be indemnity for the ordinance? Publication, so is it a recess? Table?
Well, it will be a full table, then we'll have to,
Because I don't want to lose that, I have to be posted there.
it's gonna have to be reposted because of the.
What's that change?
Changes.
It changed.
And just for clarity, the legal ad does not come into play until we do the second hearing. So no money has been expended.
No, my main thing is, I heard some of the citizens, little bit of comments, our main thing was to. And it's since and lead to its community is that we want all properties to be respectful, clean. If you have some expertise playing over to this community that you drive by, you live next to, on the little drive, that we have a house right now, it's like low-level, two-story house that this landlord we can reach out to hasn't done anything to. So like I said, it's code enforcement, but we know code enforcement hasn't been enforced because the landlords will probably only have some actual rights to, or you gave me 30 days, I didn't get your letter, these kind of things. So we must enforce, try to find a regulation part of ordinance that we can do these things to make these land, these properties suitable for people that live next to them. I would like to say, he went to a house and had grass 5 feet tall. And when they cut around the beard. So my main thing is how he feel going out his doors and then that every day. So did he get the city? He gave the city the letters, but we have to ask the landlord. So the landlord is absent. Who does the work? The town. We have to do the landlord problem. So we start cutting grass, or we start doing these things. Town has to get reimbursed. So what we do is have the liens on these properties. Yeah, we got to keep them up, keep them clean. So if the application landlords out there not keeping it propped up, it's something that we must do as leaders. Make sure we live next to people that keep their land. So this is what we have to do, but like I said, we have some things in this ordinance that must be changed. And once we get it, the eyes crossed, to decide it or whatever.
I agree, but like I said before, when we force laws and ordinances in our town, we have to be very attentive to make sure that we follow our own laws and our own ordinances that we put forward in our community. If we were in Orlando or the county, I've had some experiences dealing with, properties that need to be, taken care of, they were not in compliance. They don't play over there. When they tell you this is a deadline for you to get this resolved, they mean what they say. They start assessing you, and at some point, they will try to work with you, but at some point, you're gonna be fine. We don't take it serious here. So when we wake up and we start doing things according to what we say we're gonna do, we're gonna stand by, that's how you get order in your town. Not letting people do what they wanna do, and they just ignore and have no respect for the local government. So it starts with us, so we have to take our finger and turn it this way and say, we're the ones. We're the ones that's gonna take control of this and make sure that this happens. And that's where we need to start.
If I may, Mayor, okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Question. In other municipalities, they have code enforcement as well as winter ordinances. Or do they mainly just have one or the other? And the code enforcement officer follows the winter ordinance or is that associated with renters? Okay.
Right, so mostly it's code enforcement. And it's their responsibility to do that. Situation where if the grass is tall, you can bring it to code enforcement, impose the fine of $100 per day, or the city have to mow it and place a lien on it. If the town does not mow it, that's really where the penalty started to hit because they're incurring $100 every single day. And, you'll get properties that have $15,000, and it gets to a certain point where it's advantageous for the town to move ahead and foreclose on that, just because of the amount. So,
So that's for something that can be seen on the outside. If I'm a renter and my walls are falling apart, that's all that I can afford. A code enforcement officer is not going to see.
correct.
So. My question is this, and this is information. How does, because we get the calls all the time, well, not all the time, we get enough calls say that there are renters out there whose landlords don't care, they don't live here, and as long as they get that monthly check, and I'm not saying all, I'm just saying there are some. How does that get to the code? Let me see what the problem has been, when I first came in, probably about 2020, I'll go back, because, and even before 2020, something like this had come before the house. And then in 2020, it was something that it was already gonna be on the agenda. And my question at the time was, code enforcement did not have teeth. So even if they wrote a citation, nothing happened because there was no legal teeth to it. So a document such as this would help in that case. Since then, and this is to address some of the statements, our code enforcement department and our officer, and it has gotten better. They are now having code enforcement meetings. Things are now in place that those citations, they have hearings. So for those that don't know, it is in order, it's getting better. So basically what we have now, this would not be needed as much. So I guess my thing is, when this is being tabled, but if there are items in here, elements in here that will strengthen the code enforcement side, they would need to update the code enforcement.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. One of the benefits that you have right now, code enforcement, that is coming back and actually enforcing what you have, is that property owner is found to not be in compliance with one instance, you can tag them as a repeat offender. Meaning you don't necessarily have to go through the whole process again, you just issue a citation right there and say, hey, that's going to turn to a lien. Generally speaking, code enforcement, they can observe stuff on the outside, they don't have access to the inside of it. So that's really where a rental ordinance like this would come into play. It would require inspections every year, which would have an inspector look for building code violations, health and safety violations, stuff that you can't necessarily see on the outside.
Right.
So that would be one of the advantages of this. If you look at other municipalities, some have the yearly registration fee is $35. Some have it as $50, it just depends. Other places have it to where it's the actual cost of what it would cost the town to have an inspector go in. So it does fluctuate, it's not, I know there's.
So they have that on the code enforcement side, because the code enforcement.
No.
Or under a.
So under a separate control.
Okay, so there are elements in here that should be kept, although we would need to have someone to those inspections, because staffing level of the town, we cannot handle that. And that's the only other piece, being able to execute such an ordinance efficiently. And I'm saying that because one answer is not, code enforcement officer by itself is not the answer. Rental ordinance by itself is not the answer. The answer is somewhere in between of everything that we said. We're working on getting home ownership is one answer, as well as education that was mentioned earlier. So the answer is in between, and in regards to pointing the finger here, that's what is happening. That's what Council Washington has done. What can the council or a council person do to help address some of the issues that are being brought to us? So in redoing this document, you don't put the baby out of the backboard. there are elements that can be, that are needed. And they will work in conjunction with code enforcement, is what I'm hearing, that's what I'm bringing.
Yes,
Okay.
and I think there's a way to sort of skim it down where you get the meat of what you're
Yes.
looking for,
Yes.
which is, yearly inspections, make sure the house is complies with building codes and stuff like that. And not necessarily the background checks, which would be preempted.
Right.
But, you know, it's some of the other stuff as far as the occupancy levels and stuff like that, really, I think what we're concerned about is. Does it, by the affordability code, is it unsafe? Habitation, stuff like that.
Because there are things going on behind closed doors that we don't want and that you don't want next door to you. But you don't know it because no one can go inside the house. There are things going on, and I'm not talking about your basic boarding homes. I'm not even talking about that. There are other things. And I think there has to be a way for us to manage our rental properties because they are 65% of the community. You know, and it's not to, you know, so there is an answer, that's a little bit of everything I'm saying.
Well, this statement right here is not to undermine you, Mayor, but it is to undermine you in a sense. At the end of the day, code enforcement, just speaking on code enforcement, that is a administrative, issue also. And I know we've been talking about this for some years now, you know, I've been saying it for almost 10 years that we would, you know, went as far as talking about having a magistrate, you know what I'm saying, to deal with some of the issues that we're having in town, you know, but that's all we're doing, we're just talking. That's all we've been doing, is just talking, saying we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna, you know, make changes, but this, whether it's a ordinance or a resolution or whatever. But we've done nothing but sit on our hands, and we wanna sit here and gripe and moan about all the things that are going on and not fix the problem. Like, we need to really invest in getting another code enforcement officer. That way we won't even put ourselves in a predicament or even having people complaining or griping about, you know, certain things that are going on with lighted areas or, you know, cars sitting up here with flat tires and things of that nature right there. That I see on a daily basis because I get the phone call all the time. I don't necessarily call you because I can deal with it myself, you know, but at the same time, I do reference it to the code enforcement officer. That's why I stated before, not really a big issue with him going on to the law enforcement side of it, but you know, I felt like, you know, when it was on the side of the CRA, it ran smoothly. For whatever reason. And the position that we're in now with code enforcement and having all these different issues with wanting to make the changes necessarily, what are we gonna do? You know, and we can't sit here and invade people's property with them, you know, pretty much, you know, putting a, you know, something over their head, telling them what they gotta do with their own rental property. I think we're kind of going over the top by doing something like that as well. I understand the, you know, significance of what Vice Mayor is trying to do, but like I stated, you gotta change some, you gotta make changes that doesn't consist of all the things that I've heard tonight, but background checks of certain people that live in a certain, you know, property or what have you. We need to address the main issue, the blighted areas, the cars that are sitting up here, that's been sitting up here for months with flat tires, no tags. Those are the issues that we don't need to be worried about what's going on in other people's homes. You know, so within the grounds of whatever that language look like in the ordinance, we need to make that change. And I get it, you know, but at the end of the day, Mayor Gardner, this is your administration. Last time I checked, the code enforcement is set up under the administration of you. And I think it's something that you definitely need to address, and you and your staff need to get on top of. I'm legislating, last time I checked, I don't want to sit here bring things that doesn't really consist of me bringing it up. Even though I can make a change on it, I can sit up here and bring a lot of different orders that I want to change at every meeting, but that don't make it right, just because I can do it, right? But at the end of the day, I think, Mayor, you and your staff need to be a little bit more attentive to making sure that code enforcement is ran more efficiently, because that's a word I keep hearing tonight. And not to undermine anybody, like I said, but it needs to be ran a little bit more efficient, you know, a little bit more efficient, especially with all the different hearings that we got. Now, could you tell me, like, you gotta tell me now, but tell me during your report, how many hearings that we have right now that we're even waiting on to be, resolved? And that's another problem right there. You know, it's like a slap on the wrist and not holding people accountable. Me personally, I like to hold your feet to the fire. That's how I've always been. That's how I'll always be moving forward, no matter what. But if we sit here and continue pounding our chest, thinking that we're doing something that's gonna be sustainable for the community when we're adding more detrimental to it, shame on us as leaders. So I think we just need to be a little bit more attentive to definitely moving forward with, you know, perhaps getting another code enforcement officer, whether he's part-time or not. I think that's gonna equally help him out with covering the grounds of the town of Eatonville, because it's a lot to cover at the end of the day. And I will have a personal meeting with him to see, you know, where he does it, because I have spoke with him in the past about, you know, him needing help, and he stated to me that he don't, but I know he does. You know, but I don't get myself in the you know, bound of, you know, forcing it upon him either. Because he said he's doing the scope of the work. Of course, you're doing the scope of the work, but we still got a lot of blighted areas around here that are not being addressed. I'm talking about all over Eatonville. I drive around Eatonville all the time and see areas, I'm like, man, oh my gosh. Like, you know, but I think at the end of the day, in a nutshell, well, Gardner, you need to get a grip of what's really going on with code enforcement, and being that it's under the direction of chief, he need to probably get a better grip of it also, because we need to get it done sooner than later, instead of sitting here talking about it. So that's my spiel on that. And like I said, this is something that we can carry on and talk about for days, but I think we need to not put the cart before the horse and make sure that we're lining up correctly and making sure that we're making all the best decisions that's gonna be for the betterment of our community.
All right, so we heard. Is there a motion to table?
I move.
It's been moved and seconded. I heard
Who's second?
Washington first.
Washington.
It's been moved and seconded, all in favor say aye. Aye, all opposed. Right, so the item, ordinance 2025 actually has been tabled. Next item is the constitution is for motion. It's been moved and seconded by Councilman Davis. All in favor say aye. Aye, all opposed. All right, the constitution has been. Council decision approval of extending the completion date of post doc. Is there a motion? Sorry. It's been moved and seconded, Councilman Davis. I'm sorry, Councilman Davis.
Yes, okay, with the extension, what are we proposing, what you spoke about last meeting there?
So, if I may.
Okay.
Yeah, the item is the same layout as last meeting. Several conversations have been back and forth with the owner. He is on Zoom currently right now. There were some questions that came up that he wanted to be able to answer. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here in person, but he was able to join by Zoom. So at this point, as you know, the ordinance which was addressed, the amendment, which was brought back before, was to go in effect until December 31st, 2025, with the same layout of that. I did make him aware that as of September 1st, which was yesterday, he is still responsible for the fines that started on July 30th, at the end of July. So he is aware of that. If this council decides to work with this, that portion would still be due, unless otherwise stated by the council. And then at that point, we would stop current fines, allow the amended approved, the approved amended item to go into effect to the 31st. So just wanted to lay that out. One other thing in there, the fines, the weekly or daily fines went up from 250 to 500 in this current amendment to, and I believe the clerk's office had, made it without some comments.
I know I had, spoke about in the last meeting, reference to the, $200,000 to be, given back to us, in good faith with the, extension that we would grant if he's willing to get the $200,000 back. But if he's not willing to do that, we're gonna definitely move forward with, the fine that we got in place and whatever else the clerk has with the $500 being effective moving forward. Besides the $250, will it go with the $500?
If it's the will of the council.
If the council approves to amend it, the new amendment has a daily fine of 500 versus 250. That would be something, regarding your question or comment about the 200,000 come back, that's something, Mr. Manning would have to respond to.
Yeah, being that he's on Zoom and I'm sure he's listening to me.
Yes, can you guys see me?
And for the record,
He's speaking, if you want. to-
for the record, Mr. Manning, this is Councilman Matt, and I'm asking if, like you said, I'm only one individual that votes up there. I can't count for everybody else, but for me, I'm asking that you give the $200,000 back before we can move forward with giving you any extension. And if you're not willing to do that, I'm not willing to give an extension. Plus, we're gonna continue fining you $250 a day until completion of their construction. Now, I think it'll be a lot more feasible to give the $200,000 back, reference to being fined $250 a day up until your completion, and that can probably exceed more than December 31st. Now, me just thinking out loud, if it's me that want to move forward with getting an extension, I'll probably be like, you know what, we'll give you $200,000 back to get that extension up until December 31st. And I also stated last time too, in January, to let us know the prognosis of what's going on with the property, if you're gonna need, X amount of time to do certain things. And I'm a councilman with empathy, you know what I'm saying? I like to, kind of show empathy when people are doing something, especially in our community, but you haven't showed up one time during council meetings since January to express to us that you are kind of behind the 8 ball still. And things like that matters because that shows me that you really don't care if you ask me personally. Because if you did, you would have been here a little bit more attentive to things that are going on with you financially or whatever it is that the real you to not have the completion right now. And that's problematic with me. And my job as a legislator and as a leader in this community is to protect the grounds of this community and my citizens. And I feel like you didn't do your due diligence in terms of, just being forthcoming with us as councilmen, especially with me referencing to you to come in monthly. I ain't ask you to come in every week or every council meeting, come in monthly. So that's like maybe once a month during council meeting, whether it's the first or third council meeting, and kind of give us a prognosis on where you at with your own project. But that never happened. I never got an email from you. I never got a phone call. I never got anything in reference to you having any issues. So how would I know you had issues? How would I know that? I have meetings with the CAO before every council meeting. He never referenced to me that he was having any issues. I never got that from him or anyone concerning you having any issues. But now, being that we're at a deadline, you having issues. So at the end of the day, a closed mouth don't get fed. If you're not letting me know what's going on with you and your construction and your completion time, how do I know? How could I know when we already had an agreement that you'll be finished by July 31st? And that's yet to be done. You're still in construction. I don't know the timeline, what it's gonna be. It can be another year from now. I don't know. But as far as I'm concerned, you're being fined $250 a day. That's substantial. I don't want to do that, but it's a business. It's a business that we're running here. I gave you so much opportunity to get up here and address issues. And me personally, I can't tell you how you live your personal life. But me personally, if I was in your shoes, I'd be up there right now at that panel. That's just me. I just feel like it's been a lot of disrespect. That's been addressed, with you not being here, you wasn't even present at the last council meeting when we had the discussion. So that just tells me that you don't have any concerns. Or you feel like you can come in our community and do what you want to do, and that's not the case either. And I understand inflation happens, it does. And like I stated before even get into this conversation we having now, I have empathy, I do. And I'm explaining to you right now, if you can give us $200,000, that's not even your money. The money was given to you by us. So you're not losing anything. You're not losing nothing by giving the money back. If anything, it's gonna be a good deed for you to give it back. And you're not being charged nothing. So at the end of the day, you're not losing no money. You're not losing any finance in terms of whatever is going on with your construction over there with your facility and your building. If you get the $200,000 back, that's all we asking. That's all we requested. And if you can do that, you'll be in good standing. And all this can go away. It can be a wash. And we'll give you to December 31st to get your completion done with your occupancy. And I think it'll be a win-win for everybody. That's just my suggestion.
Am I able to speak?
Mayor, Manny is asking if he could speak.
Oh,
Go ahead.
First of all, thank you. Apologies, I couldn't be present. I had a little bit of family obligation tonight that I couldn't make it. Addressing you, Councilman Mack, this is the first time in my entire history of dealing with the town that I've never been present. Even in your absence when you were not there. So I don't agree with the statement that, I don't show up. I think I've been very intentional in showing up, in that aspect.
I'm sorry, Manny, we're having trouble hearing you right now. You're playing off a laptop, so
If the laptop. volume
yeah, it's all the way.
Okay, is that a little bit better?
1 second. Try again?
Is that a little bit better?
No, it's not.
If you can't see my video, I'll just shut it off. That might help. It's with the connectivity, maybe.
No, it's just that you're playing off of our laptop, so that's the max volume.
And then Johnson's not set up with sophisticated audio, so.
And that's gonna be for the record also, we need to make sure that we're hearing anything that he's saying.
We're not set up to do that here.
Yeah, that's capabilities in this facility. We do have a change, this portion of both right now. So
You can't repeat. Would you like us to repeat what he's saying?
Yeah, because you can.
Can he talk and you will repeat what he's saying?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. First of all, I apologize of not being present. To address Councilman Mack's comments of me not being present. I think this is the first time in my entire history of dealing with business with the town that I haven't been present. Even in your absence of not being a council, I've always been there.
Councilwoman Randolph is saying that Mr. Presley is trying to call you on your cell phone so we can hear you better.
All right, I'll do that.
yeah. Go ahead, Ben, we will start. Yes.
Okay, did you guys hear me? So I apologize for not being able to be present today. I had unfortunately still family obligation, my kids that couldn't attend. To address Councilman Mack's comments, I think this is the first time in my entire history of dealing with the town business that I haven't been present. I've always been very intentional about being there. Even perhaps when you weren't, part of the council and everybody who has, I can attest to that. Specifically regarding, not communicating, the issues, I did send out an email, obviously, in I believe late June regarding, or July regarding the recent update of kind of constraints that we had to deal with construction, to finalize construction. So I'm not sure if you received those. As far as the 200,000, I don't think you understand that 200,000 didn't go in our pocket. That was a reimbursement for infrastructure related costs that improved the town. As infrastructure, the 200,000 went towards that. So I'm not sure if you really understand that part. The other part is, as I mentioned in the last time I was there, whether the project finished, in January or February of this year, or November or October of this year, it would have no implications on, how the town would benefit from a tax basis perspective, because Orange County property taxes are accounted for in the following year of a completion of a project. So I don't see how the project not being done right now hinders the town's inability to, collect the tax revenue. Also, I had mentioned in an email that, even with the project delays, the town has collected about $400,000 in taxes. That would have not happened if we didn't, basically had started even the project. I'm not sure if everybody's understanding that there's been added revenue to the town that we have paid that would have otherwise been not collected because the property was owned by Orange County Public Schools. And then thirdly, in regards to, the fine, it's really up to the town if they want to enforce that $250 fine, given that, some of the issues, that I broke down in the email have been out of our control. Also, the CAO, Demetrius, to some extent has been aware of some of the issues. My understanding was that, there was some communication, of those issues, specifically with the building code, that's by Universal Engineering, that was really not caused by us, of how they were trying to enforce a code issue that was previously, permitted. Needless to say, obviously it doesn't change the fact that there's been additional constraints and delays in the construction of the project, and therefore, obviously requiring the extension. Obviously I asked for consideration in the fees because of, the money that the town has collected. The 200,000, has really gone in infrastructure related costs. It has not really gone in our pocket by any means. And the fact that the building being done in July 31st or December 31st would have no implications on the tax collected, basically.
I have a couple of questions if I could. Okay, reference to infrastructure. At the end of the day, I know the $200,000 were not, there was something that I definitely didn't vote on because I didn't have anything to do with it. And when it did present, when it was presented to me, I definitely voted down on it for a lot of reasons, because I felt like we don't need to be giving the citizens tax money away to anybody. And for the record, whatever construction you got going on, that's your responsibility in terms of infrastructure. If you're gonna build in the community, you gotta make sure that you're doing it to the point of having everything lined up with your infrastructure also. And I know over here, we don't have the best infrastructure, but I think he was able to do a lot of different things outside of, us not having the best infrastructure, if that makes sense. And then on top of that, the opportunity that was presented to you to, come before the town and give us, some updates on, the prognosis or whatever it is that, you're gonna be possibly finished with the, construction that never occurred. You gave me something that email, that was in July, that was at the closing date of your extension. Of course, you're gonna send that email, right? And like I stated, you know, I know inflation happens, it happens, you know, with everyone, you know what I'm saying? We've all dealt with it. You know, dealing with the economy that we're all dealing with right now, man, it's a struggle for all of us, you know, and I know for you, we appreciate you bringing your business to the town of Eatonville, and for the business that you have brought to the town of Eatonville for over the years that, you've been here. But at the end of the day, you being a businessman, just as well as everybody up here, saying, as leaders, it's a business that we're running here in the town of Eatonville as well. Now, I stated what I stated in terms of, you know, the, you know, extension with the 200,000 coming back. And I know you keep saying in reference to, you know, the money went towards infrastructure, but that was $200,000 that wasn't your money from the beginning. And I know you're gonna keep emphasizing on what it went to, but I'm telling you that the money wasn't yours from the beginning. And I definitely was totally against, you know, when I even was sitting up here, against the money going to you for whatever reason. I don't care what it was for. I just wasn't, for the $200,000 going to you in any capacity. Especially when you build a $32 million building, now it's done, actually went up a little higher than that because of inflation and all the other different things and all the other variables that have played a part in you, trying to finish your completion of your construction. But neither here or there. I think I've been fair across the board with giving you the extensions to, complete your building. And I'm willing to give you another extension. I am, because that's the empathy that I showed. But you gotta give and take. You can't expect to get something if you're not giving. You know, you want us to sit here and put a $500 amount on it now if you don't have the completion, when it's already at $250. Who's to say you're gonna be in completion? You know, and hopefully you are, but I think it'd be a lot more feasible for you to give us the $200,000 back, right? No harm, no foul. We wash our hands. You don't lose anything. We don't lose anything. We all walk away from it, and you have until December 31st to be completed. I think that's pretty reasonable if you ask me personally. So I don't know what else to say besides, you know, give the $200,000 back. We give you the extension up until the month of December 31st. And hopefully you can be completed before then. And maybe we can have some kind of stipulation where you don't have to pay as much out. You know, those are the, you know, guidelines that I'm gonna follow. With possibly, you know, doing that also. So, you know, like I said, I want to be fair, Manny, across the board. And like I said, I appreciate everything that you've done with the businesses that you bought in Eatonville, but, you know, business is business at the end of the day. And I think, that's what.
Yes, ma'am. I will be in favor of this extension for Manny, but I will not be in favor of Manny to give back the $200,000 here in September 19, 2023. In our record, it says in 2015, the town council unanimous voting on and made commitments to allocate funds for infrastructure of Holstein, which it has been built. As a senior member of the council, myself, someone who participated in the voting process for this project, I believe it is critical that we honor our pledge and commit to this project. Manny has been a great partner to this town of Eatonville, and now for us to, in a sense, want to take back what we've given, that's not collaboration, that's not partnership with our business. We should be here to help Manny facilitate that ability to get it open so that we can continue to get the funds necessary to help our town. I don't know where this, I don't know if we call it hostility or, you know, where this comes from, for, you know, against Manny and Holstein, but I appreciate what Holstein has done. Like I keep saying before, as we look at the history, I appreciate Manny didn't go to Altamont or to Orlando or these other municipalities that wanted it. They stayed here in our little historic Black town, even with the problems that we have. And we say we got empathy and sympathy. I think that we should, in a sense, put our hearts in this thing and see that this young man is trying to make this business happen in the town. And that $200,000 that we did give, we gave it as a thing to help his infrastructure, whether it was our fault or his fault. We're showing that we're committed to your project too, Manny. Here's $200,000. I'm pretty sure it went towards either that road or for, the water project, I'm not sure which one, I'm pretty sure Manny would know. But I'm not in favor of taking the 200,000 back, and even the unanimous vote, council, I'm sorry, Vice Mayor Washington was on board, so we all saw the vision, we all saw that host not could be beneficial. And be that anchor that could, start bringing people to our town, and I hope that we as a council can, consider that he's trying to make this happen. I understand the fees and he's not, the business is not, or the building's not open where it should be right now, but let's show some sympathy and not try to take the 200,000 back. And if we're gonna do a fine, let's be reasonable with it, but let's also see, can we help this business get open and, be lenient on what we're asking? Thank you.
I think the only thing that I agree with the $200,000, but honestly, I think we could do away with the amendments and the per day fines. For me, just return $20,000. It was a reimbursable amount based on a completion by a certain date. And there's no hostility, animosity, or anything like that. But what it is that every time there is something stated, it's so the town is at fault. And we always seem to have that sentiment from people when they're doing business with the town of Eatonville. But I think it's important to keep reiterating that the town of Eatonville did nothing wrong in regards to the agreement. The $200,000 was reimbursed if a certain amount was completed. If I'm going by memory, let me finish, was completed. And what I'm saying right now is, forget about the $250 per day. Forget about $500 per day. Just return the $200,000 and be happy finishing your business. As long as the building continues, I would think it will be in the best interest of the business to continually work, because codes do change. So that's all I want. Return the $200,000 back to the town. And what that says is, we did not put the sell sign on that property, because that was part of the agreement as well, that we could have done that. We didn't do that. But we still reimbursed when the completion did not meet that deadline, that date in the contract. Just return the $200,000, be done with the amendments, complete the building as soon as you can, and we'll make every effort to make that a smooth journey. And that's what I say today, and that will stop all this coming back and forth. And to me, that is a reason.
President, just explain to me what she's talking about is reimbursable, $200,000, because according to this letter from Mosley, Attorney Mosley, when you sent me back in 2020, where is it reimbursable? It's an agreement between us and Holston saying we want to give you $200,000 as a partnership. Say, hey, we're in with you on construction. Here's whatever happened, whether that $200,000 was for the road construction or for water. I want to say it was more for water. I don't know if the construction of the tearing down of the school. I think that a water main, if I'm not mistaken, was damaged, and they didn't have access to water. So in a sense, it was like kind of, I would say, our fault, or we partnered together to say, hey, you do this, we're going to do this. It wasn't a reimbursable thing. Maybe you can help educate me on that.
Yes, just clarity on the original layout was to be an incentive base, which allowed municipalities to do with developers or projects that come in, they find incentives. And that's where it was initially started. It is in the agreement that it was the reimbursable side once he had to do work, and upon the completion of the infrastructure, which is this agreement, it talks about the design, construction of potable water and sanitary sewers, because it was the system was underserved in that particular area prior to that particular project. And so I think from the this predates me, but from that information stating that with the completion of it, this will be reimbursed, and that was done based off of the request that came back from Manny back in 2023, and that, those funds were reimbursed. He had to do the work, the reimbursement was more so just, he completed the work, he showed us the receipts. We gave him the funds back based off the incentive requirements that came from previous council that was in agreement with reimbursement of 200,000 for the water and sanitary sewer infrastructure improvements. Because I think that also those lines are now, of course, our lines, of course, those lines would be for this facility, but those lines will be accessible for the town.
And also my last question, just finish. Manning, if you're still there, if you can, for the record, tell me how long it's been since you've been, working on this construction, almost done, the exact.
I think we lost them. Oh, there you go. Can you hear me, Manny? The question.
You hear my question?
You want to go ahead and repeat your question? Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Manning, my question to you is, could you tell me the exact date, the time, how long it's been since you've been, working on this construction, the whole time? From start to now?
How long will the project? There you go.
So basically, the question was, when did it start, basically?
No, how long it's been since?
So basically, construction officially broke ground on the project on May 2021.
So we're talking about over 4 years now. 4 years and what, about 4 months? So we're working on 5 years right now. That you've been doing construction. Now you would think within the time of you doing the construction for the 5 years almost, that you would, at least be, completion or what have you. But I think better yet than that, a lot more communication should have been taken. Because that's a long time to be working on anything. And I understand, I know you've expressed that you had inflation, you've had financial situations, what have you, and I get it. I understand, we all deal with it, in our own personal lives too. But I think it make it hard for us to, well, at least for me, to move forward with doing anything that would, give any more grace besides giving the $200,000 back, because originally the money wasn't yours originally anyway. And I definitely wasn't the one that approved to give the $200,000 back. And reference to what Mayor Gardner just said, I think it would be the right thing for you to do with doing so by just giving the money back, because it wasn't yours originally anyway. And I know you said, and I keep hearing this infrastructure of water, what have you, that was associated with us giving you the $200,000. I know for a fact that I was always against it. Even when it came before me, I voted down on it a few times. So you know how I feel when it comes to the $200,000, that wasn't yours anyway. So I think it would be the right thing for you to just go ahead and, negotiate with us by giving the $200,000 back. Everything else will be a wash. Even the $250 a day that you've already accumulated will even go away. Because I feel like, and I'm not a mathematician, but if you continue collecting this $250 a day, I don't know when the completion is gonna be. It could be another year from now. That's a lot of money. So I think it'll make a lot more sense for you to say, you know what? To save my own pockets, I'm gonna go ahead and get the $200,000 away that wasn't originally mine anyway, to save myself from paying more money possibly down the line, because you might want to say, you know what, I need another extension for probably about another 3 months and I'll be fully completed. And we might be like, you know what, let's give it to them without no harm, no foul, without even having any stipulations on it. So I think you definitely need to be, careful on how you're doing business right now, especially with, proposing whatever it is that you're proposing to us. It seems to me that you just want us to give you the extension without really no stipulations. And we've been doing that for a while now. So my concern is, the job is not gonna be completed. I'm hoping that it does. I'm really hoping that it does be completed, but I don't wanna keep beating this horse. I've already stated what I stated. I know we're gonna have different opinions up here. My opinion is to get the $200,000 back. Everything else that's been accumulated with the $250 a day go away. And we give you the extension to, December 31st, and it'll be a wash. That's not, outlook on it right there, man, and that's what I'm understanding.
So for clarity, just so everybody's clear, the actual developers agreement was originated in 2016. And then there was, the period where it was about to start in 2019, and then, of course, the pandemic hit. And then, so what I think he actually took, actually broke ground was in 2021, which he was just speaking of, just for clarity, but so that's been going on. But this actual agreement was approved by council, that was 2016.
Long time, 9 years.
Council.
Oh, yes. This is what it's, good evening, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, this is.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, in order to get the certificate of occupancy, what is now, what is it that need to be completed or done from this point up to completion of the building?
What's needed, it's really, or if you guys see the progress in the project, it's, obviously it's very visible now with the parking lot, being wrapped up, the next few weeks. That's a key next, piece that's happening, to achieve CO on the project. So the remaining site work needs to finish, the landscape needs to finish. And then inside the facility, finishing up some of the digital raised floor, we call it, needs to wrap up. So that's what's left, to get the CO. And we are, aiming to get that, obviously, by the end of October. It's currently what's shown in the schedule.
Okay, does that have anything to do with the parking lot, or just the building?
Sorry, what was the question?
Is the parking lot inclusive or just the building?
So the building's, is the building complete, or are you saying just the parking lot or something like that?
No, there's miscellaneous inspections that, are being scheduled over the next 4 to 6 weeks for inside the data center in parallel with inspections of the site work. I also just want to reiterate, this is, I think, Councilman Rodney Daniels, I appreciate him mentioning this, the support for separately in the past. I think he brought up an important point. This is not a typical project. This is a tier 4 mission critical data center. There's only 5 currently in the entire United States. So, there's a lot of underlayer digital infrastructure that's hard to understand, that is, been part of, challenging to wrap up. But hopefully that answers your question, Councilwoman Randolph.
Yes, I just want to also know, are you confident that you're going to finish this before December 31st?
Not only am I confident, just to have perspective, obviously we're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars per month in having a live construction site. As I mentioned before, that's not fun for us. It's obviously we're bleeding money. So, to the extent that, you guys saw in the summary that we're spending every dollar needed to make sure that the project is finished. I don't think, Councilman Mac understands that the severity of us, bleeding money from this project not done, it far exceeds, the fee that's being imposed. But yeah, I am confident and it's necessary. We're not doing this for fun. This is digital infrastructure that's coming into the Orlando metro area that has a lot of purpose and demand.
Are you finished? Or someone, I wanna kind of like, piggyback on what you
Wait,
just said.
So, on the other, agreements, if you, sign off on agreements. So, yes, if you sign off on those agreements that you, said you would complete by those, that last agreement. I would look at it this way, but for me, I don't know what the total fee is, we didn't spend the money on attorney fees. I said last meeting that concurrent with, I said concurrent with the, last agreement. And I'm for, finish it when you finish it for me, but just pay what you owe on the last agreement. That's what I'm for. So, and I really don't care when you finish it after that, but my main thing is to pay what you can pay out. And if you want to spend another dime on nothing, anything, because hopefully, for the facility. But if you sign the last agreement and you agree to that, I think you should concur to that, and I'll be done with that. That's how I feel about it. You know, so. Yeah, you finish the building, you finish that, agreement together for you to get to the first, very first no years to go. Just pay the current agreement on this last agreement we dealt on, put out, and I'll be done with this here, because I don't think that, we need to keep spending money for the vote, you know, meet deadline, not meet the deadline, so just pay for what, to this point, and we just leave it alone, because it's building the future, that's the point. Yeah,
The current fee stays intact until a CO is issued. So that means from now, so say for instance, he's staying in October, that once that CO is officially put into play, then those fines stop. So it would be from July 31st, which is August 1st. So whatever that point is, those are the fees he's responsible for. Current amendment number 2. That's the.
So when you say the seal, it's seal.
The certificate of occupancy.
So you can get it, but you can use.
Normally you have the contract.
Right.
Does that take some time once she comes out with the inspection? That's like I see 2 months.
I don't know, say that's 2 months to get the inspection done, but he just needs to, most times that's part of the project management. So if you're coming towards the close, most project managers are already submitting the documents because they're already close. And so they're already scheduled by the time they're ready for the actual inspection. So I don't perceive that will be a long extended time for when he requests for the CO to actual inspections, unless there's something that comes in the inspection that doesn't meet standard. That's not what they impact. But I will say this, Manny has been meeting with our current code, or with our current team on different things as they come up. So he's pretty much got a grip on where he needs to be when it comes to being the standard.
I keep overhearing you, bring my name up individually about me not understanding, what's going on with you doing your construction and all the logistics and all these different terminologies that you're using reference to you, being completed. Listen, obviously you've been the one signing off on all these different things that you've been in completion of. So how am I not understanding? You the one that are in delay of the construction, not me. It's not my business, it's your business. So how am I not understanding? And if you feel like I don't understand, I want you to explain it to me. And I've already kind of like captured my name only being specific by not understanding. So I guess nobody else up here besides myself is not understanding on you not being in completion of your construction. Is that what you're referencing to? Because you keep specifically saying Councilman Mack is not understanding. That's I done heard about 5 times while I'm sitting up here. And like I told you before, this is nothing personal. This is business. Ain't nothing I do is personal up here. I felt like I've already gave you a lot of leeway going into this. It's been almost 5 years. We're talking about going on 5 years. It'll be 5 years in May of next year that you've been doing construction, and then you're asking for an extension all the way up to December 31st. And you told us last time you was in here in January that you'll be in full completion by July 31st. And that's yet to be seen. And then you say you're having issues with possibly, finishing up the parking lot. Every time I pass by, going in, coming to work, I'm praying and hoping that you get the completion done. If anything, I'm rooting for you to get it done. So let's not think that I'm saying here going against the grain or going against anything that you stand for as far as a businessman. We're getting things done. Business is business. If I got a report that's due at work and I don't have it on my boss desk by a certain time, it's a possibility I can lose my job. Or something can happen, something's gonna happen. I'm not just gonna not have no repercussions for it, right? There's repercussions and consequences of everything you do in life. You know that, you're a grown man, just like I am. And I understand that you said you've been doing business in the town way before I sat up here. But I'm sitting up here now. And I want to make sure that I'm being fair across the board. And I felt like I've been fair across the board. But for you to keep referencing my name individually, I got a very serious problem with that.
Well, if I may have just a recommendation. So I looked up the numbers. If based off the time frame we're requesting for the third amendment, at $250 a day, under the current would be roughly about $40,000. If it took them up until December 31st, the current amendment we have to sign. And then to activate this third one, several council members are asking for and to play $200,000 in order for them to give a thumbs up to the third one with 500. This is just something to think about. Let the current amendment stay as is. And let them finish that. Then there can always be a conversation upon the completion of what the fine amount, hey, if it gets it done and we realize, hey, he's worked, you all can discuss and say, we want him to pay full fine, we want to pay a portion, whatever that could be. But I think if they're going to be additional stipulations, I don't see it coming to the consensus on the council's support. The 200,000 coming back, or if the vendor's going to be willing to do that. So if we leave the current as is, he's still responsible for what it is as now, and once it's complete, you can always come back and meet before council decide if you want them just to pay the fines, or if you want to give them a discount. That was just my just to find a resolution based on what I'm hearing. I just want you to be aware, if you're asking for them to pay them $2,000 back with this review agreement, it doesn't match up to the amount that if he just stays on fines or continues with the current fines. See, they're just full of.
Well, like I said, $200,000, I definitely be willing to give an extension and everything else go away, even the 40,000. Whatever that accumulate to up until that point, that'll go away, that'll be a wash, right? My main concern is just the $200,000 that wasn't his from originally. And I know I've heard things in nature of, it was for the infrastructure, it was for the war, whatever situation was. I wasn't sitting up here when it was approved. I can guarantee you that, because I didn't say yay. I know that. I know I said no a lot when it was brought to my attention, when it was presented to us. I said no on every occasion for more than one reason. So now, like I stated before, being that the money is not his anyway, and I know he's spending a lot of money. We all spend a lot of money. I spend money every day, but the $200,000 that is the town's money need to come back to the town, and we'll be able to give you the extension that you're requesting up until December 31st. No harm, no foul. So all the fines that you've been accumulating for the $250 a day, that will go away. You won't have to pay that. Only thing you got to give us is $200,000. That's not your money anyway, and we can negotiate for you to have this extension all the way up until December 31st. You said you're going to be probably completed by October, which will even be better. So if you can come to that point of, completion, especially with the CO, listen, everything will be fine. But, you know, $200,000 is definitely something that I'm, willing to, I think we need to get that before moving forward.
Yes, attorney, you are attorney. According to the amendment right here, in the development agreement. When you go down to the section down there, for, I don't know if you have it or not, I'm just. Since this is a signed agreement, certain parameters are not met, then it's, whatever happens, say, if I say I'll give you $1 and it's, I don't give you $1 before the 12, and I have to give you $1. That's
So
the
are
case.
you talking about amendment 2 or?
Yeah, the agreement, yeah, amendment 2. So why are we even having this discussion? If Holstein didn't meet the criteria right here in section 8, then, you know, why are we discussing? Manny signed it, we signed it, saying that if he doesn't complete by April 30th, according here, 2025, then he would get the 2,000 back. I mean, $200,000 back. Now, I'm pretty sure if Manny did this, like I would have done it, like, oh, I'll be done, providing that there wasn't any hindrance, anything on the town side, you know, the county fund or whatever. I'm pretty sure that's why Manny did it. But why are we having this discussion if this agreement is signed by both, and it says here in section 8 that he agrees the operations start date shall be extended to April 30th, 2025. A consideration for the extension in event Holstein doesn't obtain a final certificate of occupancy on April 30th, 2025. Holstein agrees to reimburse the town $200,000. Now, I didn't see that. This is what y'all was talking about, right? This is what the agreement y'all were talking about, right? That was the first one. No, this is the amendment. It's the amendment. Yeah. July. That's what, no, it's. That's what I was asking.
So-
Was that amendment?
No, so the amendment 2 that I have, the date was extended to July 31st, 2025. I don't see a.
And it has that in, because this is the one I got it from. I'm assuming this is 24, this wasn't approved.
That wasn't,
Okay, because I was looking for one, this one.
the one, I can send you the
Yeah,
update.
send me that one.
But that one was approved for, that provision has been discussed from that section 8.
Into the new one.
No, I
Okay,
did not pull all that in, because 2 reasons to go, at that time, the council stated, we don't want the property back, we want the project done.
right.
And so the focus was on putting something into place to encourage the contractor or the developer to get the project done by finding the $250 per day. But I'll send them over just to prepare it.
Okay, so but if that still is in there and you didn't meet the date, you still shouldn't have to vote on it, right? If you didn't meet the criteria of.
Well, the way that second amendment was written, that if it didn't meet that date, it's not a star the next day, which is happening right now.
I'm saying, and I'm talking about the reimbursement.
Oh, the reimbursement.
Okay.
I reference that in the original.
Correct, that was from the original. And it wasn't that portion, if I remember correctly, when we did amendment 2, we had already reimbursed. So that was not something that we discussed.
All right.
I'd like to say, you know, this conversation can go on and on, because we all have a different opinion on how we go about this particular issue. I'm gonna say that I'm not in favor of the $200,000 to give it back to the town. And looking at these documents and the agreement, I do not want to assess any additional charges. However, I think a continuation of $250 as of July 31st until the project is completed, I think that's being fair. In my opinion, so we just continue to $250 to be so of the 31st, that he has to finish October the 31st of November. He will only hold up to that point. I think that would be fair. If we're trying to mix too many, it's getting to be too complex. So just keep it simple. We're gonna go with that. And I think Mr. Manning will probably, be more acceptable to that.
All right, right now, Right now, we have a motion for to go with the agreement as is. The 250,000 per day. And give them an extension, 250 per day, with the extension to December 31st, 2025. Right?
Well, the actual, motion or the resolution requesting for amendment 3. We started discussion, so I don't know, and then it was second. For them to move forward, so you all were to either table or vote. I think you just need to vote on the matter, and then we'll know where we.
I have the question. So amendment 2. Is if you're saying the amendment 2, would that cover what I just said previously? About $250 until whatever time. Just in that.
So you technically wouldn't have to extend.
Yes.
So if you just leave that in place, the $250 is running.
Right. So if you vote this down, 250 stays as is, we continue on.
As far as January 31st.
It's as in July 31st. Yes.
July, I'm
Yes.
sorry, July.
So if you vote this down, it stays, as is, and until they continue to proceed on. You vote yes, then it's going based off of the parameters that's included in the amendment. Which is what? It's all the same parameters except for the 500,000, I'm sorry, for the 500, so you have to say 1,000. But $500 per day. But what about the 200,000 that we requested? That is the request, but that's not in this amendment.
That's not in this.
So it's not in the amendment?
To return those funds is not in the amendment. That was a request.
That was something that we talked about last meeting, so why isn't it?
That's because, well, you as one council, there has not been a consensus to support that idea.
So the only one that feels that way?
No, so right now.
Based on what's been.
We can
So what are
try,
we doing right now that's gonna consist of the $200,000 being associated with?
It doesn't
so,
occur.
so I would like to. If to rescind the motion for this, we don't need it.
Right.
We don't need to vote it down, because this is $500.
You said my second, if I did.
With an
second.
extended date to December 31st, 2025. So based on the conversation, we don't need this, we can table it.
Right.
And then that still puts us back at the 250 per day, whatever's already in place. So I would say, if I would be, I didn't do a motion, or a motion didn't say.
I think I second, so I'll rescind my second if I did.
Moved by Randolph, second by Daniel.
Oh. You had questions?
So Councilwoman Randolph, are going to rescind your second?
You said what?
She
moved it.
by Councilman actually said it.
She moved it.
Yeah. I rescind my second.
Rescind the second, or you rescind the motion?
Yes.
All right, so the motion and the
So she
second.
gotta
has
say
been
she removed
rescinded.
it, she gotta say it, she gotta say it. She can't say
Okay,
yes,
the
she gotta say it.
wait a minute, the motion is to rescind what now? On
The second for this amendment that's in front of us, $500 per day, extending it.
Yes.
To the 31st. All right, so the motion and the second has been rescinded.
So we still on 250. Yes, okay,
No action.
okay, right.
We don't need a motion.
That's right.
So now the issue of. We have 250 to keep it as it is, but we have two amounts to address. The paying the 200,000 and doing away with the dailies. And or paying a reimbursement. Honestly. I mean, and I was in favor of 200,000 and being done, give a year extension. So we don't have to keep it back and forth. Because even if we just paid attorney's fees, there are other fees. They're gonna be associated with this, even after, so.
It's not a responsibility.
So we got two.
I apologize, but I think that's a decision the council has to make.
So I mean, I would like to put a motion on the floor. To have the $200,000 reimbursed we can say by December 31st. When this agreement ends, December 31st, 2025. And then after that, you get your extension to December 2026. To finish the project. Or 6 months. And then when we're done with the certificate.
That's what I give my, I actually give my whole money, like really be in the hell.
And be done with it.
If you give us $200,000 that you can take as much time as you want.
So you would still have to agree to something.
But if he does agree, but we're giving him over the extension that he wants at this particular time, because he said he's gonna be done with it by July 31st, and that's not the case. And I'm hoping that he is done with it, because it started the project almost 5 years ago. It'll be 5 years, May 4th, 2026, because it started in 2021. May.
So it'd be nice if you walk away with an agreement on this. And we want to see it again. It's real.
I'm definitely in agreement with that proposal. But we're gonna give him up. We're extending it out to him, you know, longer than he anticipated. So like I said, he may hit another derail in the road that may consist of him coming back and forth. Instead of him being worried about coming back to us, he'll know that he got into 2026 of December to complete. That'd be almost 6 years. So, you know, but I know we're dealing with the issue over here in Altamont with that one building that's been going on for a while. And we definitely don't want to outsource because it's an outsource, because I got people that complain about it every day. And I know you're trying to, you know, construct it as quick as you can, Manny. I understand that, I get it. But I think what Mayor is doing right now is just more fair than anything. If you ask me personally, get a $200,000 back. You don't have to keep accumulating $250 a day before completion. That washes. And then, if you're not completed by then, we'll give you a whole nother year to have completion of it. So we're giving you to really essentially to December 26th to have the CO for this particular project that we started 5 years ago.
Manny would like to speak. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, here's a proposal, and my apologies, Councilman Mag, I did not mean to address you personally, my apologies, I'm sorry it came out that way. You know, here's a proposal, and I'm hearing out everybody, and I appreciate it. What if you agree to extend to December 31st, and if I don't complete it by then I can put in a writing that I will get back to 200,000, provided you waive any fines, you know, previously agreed, from now till then. That way, that's how confident I am in finishing this year. You know, I put, you know, the skin in the game. If I don't finish by December 31st, I don't get a CO, I will give back to the town January 1st, 2026, the 200,000. But the town has to agree to waive any fees, from now to then.
I'm not,
Associated with $250,000.
I don't want to agree with that.
That's what's up.
I don't want to agree with that, and for my reason is because we could be finished by October from what I just heard. Not saying that I'm trying to get money out of you, but you'll be walking away completely scot-free with no stipulation. If we sit here and allow you to take all the fees away that you've already accumulated, right? In reference to what I just heard, and I'm not no mathematician, like I said, it'll roughly be around about $40,000 if you're not completed with this project by December 31st. Now, we gotta get something in retroact to what you've done already with no fees being associated. Doesn't make sense to me. Now, if you wanna give the $200,000 up front, right? I think that'd be more agreement on me. But I don't wanna sit here and say, okay, if you don't have the completion done by December 31st, we don't have to give you $200,000 nor the fees that you've already accumulated since since July 31st.
So it's a best interest problem just to leave as is.
Yeah.
Because based off even what, and I'm just trying to get us to a place where everybody understands where we're at. Doesn't sound like the lender, the developer is gonna be willing to give you 200.
That's not a big agreement.
But he is willing, if if he has to give the 231st on December 31st, which at this point, I think it's just in the best interest for the council to let the two fines go out, let him get the project done, and then we'll go from there. Sounds like.
And I think it's in the best interest of me.
Currently in agreement too. We're not in it.
Yeah,
Agreement too.
we're trying to.
While the agreement ended, the fines are in place.
So there is no 12/31/25.
Correct. Fines are just gonna get in place until he gets to see.
So he keeps saying 12/31/25. That has nothing to do with it.
That's
just something that was told
that
out.
was just a request in time.
Yeah.
This $200 to. Definitely. Or sleep. And put this information. Finish up. 2 months now, maybe make it worse.
What was the original, like,
So. And accept that. Like I said.
Well, he don't have to set the agreement.
My preference is not to part of anything. That's my first preference.
Right.
But, but it was workable with the council. And you add it up, it's only like $79 a month. For 30 days.
and see, I think the catchy part about it, he said, without the fines being added, that's a red flag to me. You know, so you're trying to tell me that you don't want to pay nothing. Cause if you complete it by October, right?
But, you know, you're aware, I wanna make sure everybody's aware that the town is literally collecting money from us every single year. Like, you're not losing money. I just wanna make sure the town understands that through our property taxes that we pay.
But man, that's not what it's trying to do.
Come on now.
That's not what you're doing. That's not what you just tried to do. You tried to walk away the $250 a day fine that I stated earlier in the last meeting that you were trying to get waived. And what would have happened is, it would have been waived in this meeting just on that vote.
You're protecting your own interests and not protecting the interests of the people in Eatonville. So we're protecting.
So he, the where it is, but he has to go to 12, the 12/31 is not coming. I don't appreciate what you just tried to.
Yeah, because I feel like that's
Or.
That's not good. That's not good business practice right there either, man, and if you ask me personally,
I
because.
mean, the way it comes out of here. So the $250 a day stuck in the last agreement. Because we didn't put any. Other stipulations, finding the stipulations, am I right?
So right now, it's just
Just pay
$250.
Okay,
Until the CEO's decisions.
all right.
Okay, thank you.
All right. All right, the next item, so that item was tabled. The next item was.
No.
No.
No, we gotta take,
Table.
we gotta take.
No, you just rescinded it, no action.
All right, so is there a motion to table 20, approval of the,
Because
we rescinded what was before.
Yeah, but I thought the decision
So
was
you
as is.
no.
So you rescinded the motion, there's currently no motion right now, so if
Right.
you want to make a motion to table in a second, then you can vote on this.
So, yeah, we're gonna take what's on the agenda right now.
Right,
Okay.
And
but
that
he's
is
still
the
a key man,
amendment to.
if there's right, yeah,
Alright.
right.
So we
All right,
get,
so
they're gonna,
Come up with a better,
Is there a motion to? Table. The extension for the motion that it was,
so move.
sorry, if they look and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed. Right, extension.
for the point of clarity for the meeting. I believe, Mayor, you had put a motion on the floor for the $200,000 that you never rescinded.
I rescind.
He failed anyway.
I said no one.
But still, you have to carry out the motion.
Yeah, it was never like moved. Right, it was never.
Yes, you know, move it.
Anybody ready to come back to a
So
discussion?
then you notate that.
Okay, so no motion.
Okay.
If it was, I rescind.
Yeah.
All right, no, Approval of resolution 2025-20 transferring ownership, property owned by the county, built to the level board. Is there a motion?
Would you like for her to read the preamble?
Resolution 2025-20, a resolution of the town of Eatonville Town Council authorizing the transfer of ownership of property located at 504 Eaton Street, Eatonville, Florida, 32751, to the town of Eatonville Community Redevelopment Agency by quick claim deed, and authorizing the town of Eatonville Community Redevelopment Agency the authority to develop a single-family home on parcel ID 36-21-29-2376-03-240 with a legal description of Eatonville, Lawrence, D/25, lot 24, block 3, providing for conflict and effective date.
Before the preamble, is there a vote? Move. Is there a second? Right, should I ask the line second?
Question.
No, second.
I thought you said.
The one second.
Staff for 11 seconds.
Yeah.
Staff, last second one.
Yes, it is.
You just have not.
Oh, yeah. Second.
All right,
Is there a second?
Second, with good question.
I'm talking.
Second with question.
All right.
Okay,
Council.
I had an opportunity to listen to a lot of different, citizens that got up on the podium tonight. And, I take all their, concerns and questions very serious because I work for them. And I definitely, would like to look more farther into this particular item right here, so I would definitely like to move forward with tabling this item if we could. I know we've been dealing with it for some time now. But I would like to table this item versus, put a motion on the floor for the fail of not pass. So us as a, panel, could we, possibly table this item while we look further more into it? Because I heard a lot of different concerns last night that I didn't necessarily hear last, council meeting. And I know we did an environmental study on it and we did, whatever we need to do on our end from the CRA side, but I want to make sure that we're lining up and doing the right thing. So I would like to table this item before moving forward with it, if I could.
All right, so are we rescinding the motion?
I rescind my second.
That's all I said, yours.
Are you rescinding your motion so they?
It's gonna be tabled.
Yes.
Yes, that's fine.
All right, so it's been, now is there a motion to table, and one of the things, is it 504 or 526?
Yeah.
504 Eaton Street.
Oh, so is there a motion to table?
Move.
Second.
All right, is there movement and seconded to table item resolution 2025-100? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed. All right, item has been tabled. Now we're ready for resolution 2025-4, accepting the resignation of the chief administrative officer. I ask that as items to be tabled as well, because the resignation letter has not been extended. We're informed that will be resigning, but no date has been offered. We're going to get the letter, we'll receive the letter, but no date has been tendered.
I concur.
So I move that we table.
Mayor, do she need to read the preamble before you make a motion? Oh, yes. I put it out.
All right.
Resolution 2025-24, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Eatonville, Florida, to accept the resignation of the Chief Administrative Officer, providing for conflict, severability, and an effective date.
You heard the preamble, I'm asking that an item be tabled.
So move. So move.
Is there moved, is there a second? Is there moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. All right, item has been tabled. Next, approval to purchase bus and van for the town. The town precinct and recreation plan. Don't be opposed. So we just want to get approval. Is there a motion?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Oh,
All right, next one is the walk on item. Resolution 2025-25. Yeah.
Okay, resolution 2025-25. A resolution of the town council of the town of Eatonville, Florida, approving partnership with math mammograms after Sunday service and providing health-related services and resources to the town of Eatonville, providing for conflicts, severability, and an effective date.
You heard the piano, please,
So moved.
all right, it's been moved and seconded. I have a question, and this is I see that really has the partner, but not only has this been out for a while, but the town is not one of those hilarious, right? This one that happened, and it's Saturday. But this event is not. It's been advertised for a while. I guess my question would be, why are we becoming a partner at the end of the circulation of the event? It's almost like our name is here just for a week.
Well, first of all, I lost track, I called this, team there, I couldn't remember. This came, I know we brought it before back in March. It's been going on since March. And, I asked her, because they had sent the insurance in, and I wasn't too sure whether or not I had received that earlier or just again, because I knew what I said. So I said, well, if you don't have a resolution, I couldn't find one at that particular time, so I asked her if she wanted today.
Okay, so, and I'm gonna put
It was just an oversight that it just probably just never, I thought they did at some point, because this is, we talked about this for several months.
okay, so I'm gonna push back a little bit because in the past, it has. And this is based on conversation to have this event based on our social media and all of that, so I know that there has been some interaction with, and this is a great event, but it still seems. Hey, it's been moved this second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed. All right, next item.
Wait, can you repeat?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Who moved and who second?
I moved it.
Move,
And Daniel.
Yeah. Yeah.
you did say, Councilwoman.
I moved it.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded.
Moved, Rambo.
I'm gonna say, yeah, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed. All right. And I think that was that item. All right. Mr.
Real quick, just a reminder, our budget meeting is tomorrow at 5:15. We'll be back at. They will take place in this, so you all know, our new senator for District 15 is, Devon Grayson Davis. And, I believe the other one got some special mention, Sean, what's for Sean? Forget his last name. Was it Young? Yeah, he's now taking her spot as representative team, so that was unofficial results that came in, but they were pretty short. Also, on the 27th, and I will link the next meeting to September, is the Onyx Men of Honor. We do have a table for the town of people that are interested in going. That's an event on the Onyx magazine, and it's for the Men of Honor that the county mayor, along with the Onyx magazine, and a few others had. But we do have a table for that, and that's on May 27th, I'm sorry, September 27th at 6:30. I'll talk a little bit more about code enforcement and the options we have for that, our budget discussions tomorrow. So I'll leave that for that. Those are the main things coming up. Again, the commission says thanks to our town support events they just recently had on Sunday for the swim, learn to swim event that took place. Weather's prohibiting that, prohibited it quite a bit, but they still pushed through. And lastly, we're in the storm season. Thanks to Chief for keeping us updated on what's happening with that. So please just keep, if there's anything else that we talk about with that, I'll send out by email or I'll reach out by call. That's enough for tonight. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.
That's right.
Just if you want more information, I'd rather than told board and sort of so bad. So if you reach out to myself in the cliff, but other than that, don't need anything. We're here to listen, polish, listen, you know. New law students. Mr. Mack.
I just wanted to provide clarity for the budget meeting tomorrow. It will be held at Town Hall and not here.
Okay.
5:15. And then again, just want to say thank you for acknowledging the clerk's office and hats off to Marissa who coordinated a wonderful event for Founder's Day.
All right, I will start with announcements. Jeremy, thank you, Marissa. Thank you, Steve, for a great job training her. Also, it was, I love that the contract sent for those.
Yeah.
I also want to let you know that it was brought forward about Mr. Presley's resignation. As you know, he has stated that he would be leaving. A date was not set, and as soon as the date is set, as I stated earlier, the council will be notified. The important thing for me right now is to make certain that there is no time lost. We will have to advertise for the position, but in the meantime, we need someone to stand in for that position. So I will have a temporary person standing in until someone permanent is confirmed and that person will be more than that. There's a couple of reasons I'm saying. If you remember my relationship with Councilman Gaines, it was not pretty. We butted heads, but we didn't even know each other. So whatever he knew about me and whatever I knew about him, it didn't come from the two of us. And I believe that sometimes there are factors that affect our jobs here that put walls up between us. And one of the ways we can prevent or mitigate those factors is by tearing walls down. I felt that there is a lot that Marlon Daniels can give to this town. He was raised in the town. He knows the town. He knows what goes on behind closed doors. And to me, that's important because if you're going to do the job, then know what you're up against. And I don't want to bring someone in for 6 months or whatever, and they leave in 2 months because of nonsense. So with that, and he's capable, but it also, it allows someone in the town to learn this position. And we haven't allowed a local person to really learn how to be the chief administrative officer of our town. And that's important. Some places you have to live in town. But I think that he would be a great asset. And it wasn't Mr. Preston's idea. It was fine. So in case y'all want to follow out. But, and I think that would be good. So again, when we have the date that he will step on board for that temporary period, you will be notified. And Mr. Presley, I've asked him to make certain that he trains so that he set Mr. Daniels up for success. Because the town is in need of someone to continue the legacy that Mr. Presley has started. And I think that we're in a good place to do that with Mr. Daniels. And that is my report, Vice Mayor.
Wow. But Mr. Danny, let's, they may have had a talk when you came on this panel some years ago, and Eddie Cole was my host of there. He did mention that I did mention to him that we'd be a great CEO. We had a conversation. Mr. John, Mr. Johnson, as the CA, as the CRA, executive director, he good for the time. So we had a conversation about him and Mike, Mr. Johnson being part of the city staff years ago. So I didn't know why on that mayor we put him up as the CEO and get to them. But that's I support that choice. And you know, what with. So my report is coming into this to Rick Johnson. I seen 15 signs on College, at home, Ruffle, West, and we talk about code enforcement. I was like, what we doing on today? I'm seeing 20 signs on these streets. So that's what issue I had with code enforcement. We must drive this community and get these signs up, these people advertising on the city right away. I didn't give you this city right away. That's something we did definitely look out every day for those other late time. But I'm, enjoy the dialogue we have up there. And we're not gonna agree always and all times, but it's good for the order of respect in there, but just have to do the best for the community. That's my point for tonight. Thank you.
Councilman.
Yes, just want to thank everybody for coming out this evening and being engaged with town business. Anybody that's out there that's looking, council meeting takes place every first and third Tuesdays. So I encourage anybody that want to know what's going on in the community to come out. We start at 6:30 workshop, 7:30 action meeting. But also like to join for anybody that have suffered any loss in the community with the family, friends, or what have you. My heart goes out to it, and I'm also praying for a young man out of Sanford. That was a tremendous football player from Florida State. So my heart goes out to the preacher family from Sandy Snake. So my heart's and thoughts are with him as he goes through what he's going through. So keep him in prayer, that'd be great. And also congratulations to the Chamber of Commerce for celebrating their 8th anniversary. They are very important to this community. I appreciate everything that they bring from a business perspective. They do a lot in this community. I think it's our duty to make sure that we're fulfilling the need of doing everything that's in our power to make sure that they are getting everything that they need to continue doing greatness in our community also. And also I would like to congratulate the clerk's office. Can't speak enough on how Ms. King and now her assistant, Ms. Marissa, is doing a tremendous job. She's training her, and she's doing a sensational job with getting trained and being a student of the game. So just thank you for your professionalism that you bring to the community. Always been, that person that we can depend on. So thank you for everything. And you're being instructed by someone that I got all my trust in. So thanks for the award that you got received today. And also congratulations to Ms. Gracie for winning her election. On top of the other Democrat, I don't know his name, but congratulations. I voted. I didn't wear my voter sticker like Councilman Daniels did, but man, I'm like, man, I forgot my sticker. But congratulations to them also, and also a big congratulations to and this young man was actually one of my opponents in my last election. And I tell you what, man, I couldn't think of anybody else with more integrity, to fulfill the need of just being that person to help us facilitate, our town. In retrospect to everything that Mr. Presley done, it saddens me to see him leave because of the scope of work that he's done in his community, man. I really appreciate everything you've done, not only for me, man, from just keeping it straight with me and just letting know what's going on and protecting this town as well. So the time that you sat up here with, doing your job and your due diligence and just, being that voice for us and leading the way on the administrative side, man. We can't thank you enough, man. So my, thoughts and prayers can always be with you, man, and good luck with all your endeavors moving forward, you and your family. And, thank you for your service, man. I really appreciate you. And also, last but not least, I think we definitely need to consider, being that we're in budget, we got budget tomorrow. I wanna make sure that we have a balanced budget, but we can probably, make sure we're moving some things around to better facilitate, we're having a, part-time code enforcement officer, because I think it's much needed in this community, especially with all the things that we talked about and all the variables that are in place now, with us moving forward, trying to pass certain ordinances and things of that nature right there. So I think, in a nutshell, if we could get someone that's qualified to fulfill the need of being part-time or rather even full-time, that's gonna help Mr. Baruti better, suit his job and better be able to do all the things that he need to do, because I know his hands are filled, and he's the only code enforcement officer that we have in this community. And I know I get a lot of phone calls, but of course, I'm always protecting our people, which is all of us. And, of course, Mr. Baruti, he does a great job, but I just think he need that extra push and extra help to better, make sure that he's doing his job efficiently. Not that it's not doing it efficiently, but I heard that language quite a bit tonight, and I wanna make sure that we're satisfying the needs of our citizens with, fulfilling that need, with, filling that void that I think is much needed. So, if all minds and hearts are clear, that's my report. Yeah, that's my report.
Good evening, everyone. One before you long, I do agree with the sentiments that was said tonight about code enforcement. I think I've always been a stickler on outsourcing. I think sometimes we have too many, I don't want to say friends, let me just say it, but I think if it's outsourced, then there's no relationship, you just following what the code says. I want to give kudos to the previous code enforcement officer. She came by one day in her drive around. I was having to be outside that day. She said, your shed isn't up to code compliance. And I was like, how? This thing has survived like 2 or 3 hurricanes. And she said, Councilman, it's not. If you want to be a leader in this time, you got to leave by town. That next week I went and got a permit to get a shed up. But it goes to show that even though she's my friend, she did not hesitate to tell me when I was wrong. I think that sometimes when we get people outside of this community that come in and just follow the law, I think we can put this place, when it comes down to code, the grass, cars and everything, I think that a person like that could hold us accountable without us even getting our feelings. And I thank God that she did that for me. Like I said, just put me in a different perspective on I gotta be a leader in this community. Wow. That's pretty much I can say. I wrote it down right here. Wow to Mr. Preston's resignation and wow to Mr. Daniels' appointment. I have no words. I don't understand it. They tell me I'm always pessimist. I always think the glass is half empty. So I'm saying, what's the deal? What's up? That's how I look at it. Maybe it's just me, but y'all, thank y'all for coming and staying and have a great night.
Like you say, we have like a 50-minute meeting. When we do resolve some issues that say also again.
Okay, thank you. As far as the most of our situation, it's been an ongoing issue. And I hope that we come back again, that we can finalize this, and just move on. I just want to make sure that, I mentioned something, was a conduct issue that I had a problem with when I addressed the issue with, about Hosine that was on the agenda. And, when a comment was made to me, I believe it was out of Joe, by Vice Mayor Washington, that insinuated that Mr. Manning was paying me to speak or to bring this item up or to make a comment, and that was not the case. My comments with that I can't be bought. but I found it to be, obnoxious, and it can insinuate, to me that I'm benefiting in some way, personal or business. And it also implied the negative reflection of, discrediting Mr. Manley and his reputation and his character, and that was not, was very inappropriate. So I'm asking, because I have had different ones to bring it to my attention after the meeting. And I'm asking, and I'm not angry with Vice Mayor, Washington, we get along very well. We always have been years. I think in this particular case, I think that I deserve a public apology and also these.
For the commission of ethics, from you, I was just talking, but there, I was that question.
Well, I think we need to address it.
I said, sign, most of that time, when you put this together somewhere, you watch. You can about. I'll just talk. You tell the people that. So don't, I'm trying to keep no about it.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so it's fine, because I mean, you know, part of this is, so there's more, that's what I say.
Is that in the first?
You know, I don't see it's gonna bad, this one, go read the right there.
No.
I spent, well, I spent my precious time to get money from on this record. So, I said something, and he will, but it. See,
Is that the end of your report? All right.
Right now, one of these, you speaking.
Oh, stop. We're about to stop.
That's it, right?
All right, it is 10:01. Is there a motion to adjourn? Is the motion seconded on, if say aye?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All roll.
Yeah.